Okay, everybody, my name's Emma, and today we are going to be talking about InterSystems Cache. So, a brief overview of InterSystems Cache. It is a commercial operational database management system from the company InterSystems. It's used to develop software applications from everything from healthcare management, financial services, government, and other sectors. It's a multi-model database management system and application server, which we'll go into greater detail about what that is later. To kind of dive into the company, InterSystems first. InterSystems was founded in 1979. It's a privately held vendor for database management. This company has had several products released, including Cache, obviously, which is a database management system. It also has had InterSystems IRS, which is another data platform. They have another product called Ensemble Integration Platform. For healthcare, they have a platform called Health Share and Track Care, which Track Care is only sold outside of the United States. Another thing, it is based in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It was founded and is still currently run by their CEO, Philip Reagan. It started out selling one product called ISM, which was used for the Massachusetts General Hospital Utility Multi-Programming Systems, aka MUMPS, if you've ever heard of that. Over the years, it started acquiring other implementations for MUMPS, and that eventually became Cache because they combined all the features from these different products into one called OpenM, which then became Cache later when they updated it, and that was in 1997. So the company's largest customer is a health records vendor called Epic Systems. They originally built its electronic medical record software on Cache, and now they use the other data platform called IRS or IRIS with their system as well. Another big customer for InterSystems is the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. And then some more that use Cache specifically, not just other platforms from InterSystems, are the European Space Agency, which actually used Cache for its mission, Gaia mission, which they used it to create a 3D map of the Milky Way, which is pretty cool. Partners Healthcare, which built its electronic health records, used Cache and Ensemble. And then the National Health Services of England, Scotland, and Wales also use Cache for their databases. So as you can tell, this company and its products are used widely in multiple different sectors, and it is pretty important around the world. It's a great tool for different companies. So yeah, let's dive into Cache specifically. Cache is a commercial operational database management system. It can be used with object and SQL code. It stores data in multi-dimensional arrays, which is important and kind of unique because it allows for the capability of carrying hierarchical structured data, which is one of their main pushes for why their software is so great. InterSystems claims that it's the world's fastest object database. However, it really only works when it only has the best performance when it's used for transactional operations that have significantly hierarchical nature because of its multi-dimensional array system. It's very accessible and can be run on Windows, Linux, Solaris, Mac OS, Mac, and Open VMS platforms. Going into the installation, which can kind of be complicated for brand new users, so bear with me. First, obviously, if you're wanting to install InterSystems Cache, you're going to want to install Visual Studio Code, which the majority of us use today. If you didn't want to use VS Code, you could also use the Download Studio, which is an alternative. It works alongside Cache on Windows-based operating systems. VS Code is useful though because there's an InterSystems object script extension that You can directly connect to a cache server and develop code and object script directly in VS Code, which is why they recommend using that. Um, there are a lot of requirements and specifications that a customer has to pay attention to when downloading cache. One of them is disk space requirements. So you obviously have to have enough space for the installation kit. And then depending on the platform you're using, that is how much space you're going to need for this platform. For Windows users, the installation uses approximately 1,500 megabytes of disk storage. That doesn't include space for user data, that just is for the installation. Any system that supports Windows should be powerful enough to run cache easily, but obviously with an increased processor and disk speed, cache will be more powerful. For Unix, Linux, and Mac OS, they all have standard cache installation that needs about 1,600 to 1,950 megabytes of database or disk storage space, sorry. And that really depends on the installation type you choose. There also is an additional 200 megabytes of space for the cache installation directory, which confirms the disk space is available in the specified location before installing. So kind of a lot of bit of space, but yeah. So the next step is that basically all the installation is the process is fundamentally the same, but there's some changes depending on what you're looking for and what platforms you're using and what systems you're using. Um, so their website goes into great detail about each type of system and how to directly use it, and which is best for you. So I highly recommend you looking at that if you were to download or want to install cache for yourself. There's several versions that you have to be aware of, and you have to make sure that you're downloading the correct version, like a lot of other softwares that will work for your own system. And then there's a lot of questions that are asked during this installation process. One of them being either 8-bit or Unicode support for your installation. So obviously 8-bit handles characters in 8-bit format, whereas Unicode handles it in 16-bit. For us, we probably would only want 8-bit, but if you were in Japan or use a language like Japanese that stores the characters in 16 bits, you would need to do that. Um, there are several options for how you intend to use cache, and you have to choose basically which one you want, and that's how they will set up the installation of cache for yourself. So let's see. If you choose development, it will install the cache database engine, Studio, all the supported language bindings, ODBC and JDBC drivers. So if you wanted to perform both client and server tasks, you would probably want to choose development as your setup type. If you're wanting to use this as a database server specifically, which can be accessed by clients, you would probably want to select the server option, which would then install the cache database engine as well as the CSP gateway. If you wanted to use this as a client to database server for your computer or a different one, a different computer, you would probably want to select client, which then would install Studio as well as the ODBC and JDBC drivers. And then if you were only wanting to get parts of the cache that are required on a CSP gateway machine, you would probably select web server. And then if you just wanted to pick and choose which components you wanted, if you knew what you were doing and specifically which which components you needed, then you could just do custom and then pick and choose. Um, and then obviously when you're going through an installation process, you have to agree to the license agreement. You can then assign a name to the new instance you're installing with the cache instance name dialog box. And then the destination dialog box is another step in the process, and it lets you select a destination directory. for your installation. So it will basically choose what directory your software is going into. The default is this one on the screen. Um, and yeah, so moving on into some basic usages of cache, excuse me. Um, from what we've already discussed, you can pretty much know that this allows customers to store, use, and analyze transactional and historical data concurrently in whichever required form they need it. So this software is pretty flexible for the customer's needs and wants. You can basically pick and choose how you want to use this software. Um, it is a multi-model DBMS, so it supports object, relational, and key value data models, which is pretty unique to be multi-model. A lot of other softwares like this are only one model DBMS, so they only use object or relational or something like that. But this uses object, relational, and key value. Um, it provides several APIs to operate with data simultaneously, which is a really nice feature. There's a lot of embedded technologies that InterSystems have embedded into Cache, one of which is horizontal scaling. They use ECP and SLMN to do this. Basically, horizontal scaling allows each application server to maintain its own um, incident working set of the data and avoids expensive necessity of having enough memory to contain um, a set on a single server. So it lets you add inexpensive applications, servers to handle more users. Also, it has high availability because of its database mirroring technology. Basically, this is designed to provide an economical solution for rapid and reliable failover, which um, basically it reduces the risk of failure of a shared resource by maintaining independent resources on both the primary and backup mirror members. And then it also has transaction support and backup, which is nice.
Hey, I'm Erica, and I'm going to be talking about some of the applications that we see for Cache. So first off, we have use cases. So Cache can be used as a data platform and also as a development environment. And so we can use it as a data store as usual, or we can also write and run business logic. And it supports ODBC and JDBC. Now, um, as you can see here, the high performance is best achieved with transactional operations that follow a hierarchical structure. And although it has a lot of applications, this company focuses on the healthcare sector. So it focuses on hospitals, on healthcare providers, and sorting client data for that, as well as using their technology to be applied for predictive modeling. So as I will talk about in the next slide, we can also use artificial intelligence and deep learning in order to use patient data that is stored within Cache to make it work better, excuse me. Okay, so some use cases. So Cache combines multi-model data platforms, and it allows for the intersection of many different data models, whether it's document, graph, or relational, in a single platform. This brings speed, scale, performance, integration, and security over a persistence model alternative. So it's able to make those transactions faster and better. So now we do use multi-dimensional data structures, which they call the transactional bitmap indexing. So usually some of the main problems that we have is that we have slow relational databases that take up too much storage. And so Cache really solves that. So they use a special indexing that is much faster, and they also use compression to radically reduce storage. And so they can search millions of records in a fraction of a second and work with live data. Now, Cache has been referred to as kind of like the OG of NoSQL. So it's kind of a beginning stage to some of the NoSQLs that we see today. So in the practical applications, you see it used mainly for healthcare, but at some point it was used for a lot of different things because it was faster and more efficient. So Who uses this? Well, just to name a couple, we have John Hopkins Hospital, the Cedars-Sinai Hospital, the Cleveland Clinic, and a lot of other hospitals that I just didn't want to overload on this slide. But basically, it's used in a bunch of medical centers all across the world. Um, an example talking about AI is HBI solutions. So they use artificial intelligence and machine learning, and they develop data tools that help providers in healthcare systems provide better healthcare. How? One of the things that they do is focused on curing through prevention. So actually, they can use this data to predict people at risk, and it may be at risk of cancer, at risk of a terminal illness, at risk of diabetes, by mapping their bio data that they have with certain predictor patterns. So if any of you guys are data science, this is definitely something that will interest you as an application for NoSQL using this particular technology. Something else that is to be noted is that they can actually predict suicidal factors. So I'm personally very interested in learning more about how this could work. But you can use artificial intelligence and machine learning. And for that, you need a platform that's going to be fast and reliable and really able to model the data in a way that is helpful for data scientists. So I think it's really awesome that they use data to identify events before they happen to help people live the healthiest lives that they can and, continue being here. They have a technology that generates risk scores called Spotlight. And so this is based on like the population data that they have for certain populations, and it can be applied to others. And like I said, it can be used for suicide prevention. So personally, that's something that's very interesting to me, and I would like to learn more. So if you do, I strongly recommend that you look into it. We also have other uses. So we can also see NoSQL being implemented in something like the Shlomo Group, which is an investment or holding group in Israel. It's one of the largest. We also use Kimberly-Clark, well-known brand. So they also have used Cache. The Department of Veteran Affairs of the United States of America also uses this and a lot more. On the slides, you can actually click the link, and there I have all the sources cited. And so you can see there's a list of all the ones that use Cache in one of the PDF documents. So if you get the chance, I definitely recommend that you check it out. Also, talking about limitations. So first off, I'm going to talk about like the literal cache limitations. So the string length limit, you can see it right there, 3,641,144 characters. Our class limits, we have the inheritance depth, the foreign keys, indices, methods, parameters, projections, properties, queries, SQL constraints, storage definitions, superclasses, triggers, and X data blocks. And so you can see what the physical limitations of the system are. Now, I want to talk about some of the cons of using Cache because it's important to consider when deciding which NoSQL technology or SQL technology you're looking to implement for a database. So one is that there's a high functionality, but the UI is outdated. So this makes Cache really, really tedious to fix and configure and really make personalized because the user interaction component is just not there. It's also really hard to install and operate properly and very specialized networking. So in terms of it needing specific ports or virtual machines, or if you're getting really specific in the technical environment, it might be difficult to implement. Also, big major thing, it's less widely used than other well-known platforms. So the main source of documentation and support and information libraries all come from InterSystems. And so if you're using Stack Overflow or another help website to help you find support, it's not as well documented by all individuals. It's just whatever InterSystems can provide you. And sometimes that answer might be unsatisfactory. So you might really need somebody who's like an expert on InterSystems. So it's a bit of a steeper learning curve. It can also be difficult to perform true unit testing since the data access and business logic layers are so close for this technology. So a way to describe it is that every test you write touches a database, which makes it more of an integration test than like a unit test. Also, as is to be expected with certain technologies, it is difficult to change out of this technology if it were necessary. Now, it does use JDBC, so there is that. However, it may be difficult to transition just because of the nature of it. Okay, that was my part. Thank you so much.
Now I want to compare Cache with NoSQL, and the most popular NoSQL database is MongoDB. So I'm gonna compare Cache with MongoDB. InterSystems Cache is primarily used for multimodal database management system, while MongoDB is primarily used for fully managed cloud services and deploying self-managed infrastructure. While InterSystems use key-value store, object-oriented DBMS, and relationship DBMS. MongoDB use only document store. With that, InterSystems is the most popular for object-oriented DBMS. About the license, InterSystems Cache is commercial, while MongoDB is open source. Even with this, InterSystems Cache is available on more server operating system than MongoDB. Mongo does not use schema, and it also supports many more programming languages, while InterSystems only accepts C#, C++, and Java. Next, I will compare the most significant syntax difference between Cache and MongoDB. For Cache, when you want to add a new data value into your database, you first need to declare your data values as an object and then convert it to JSON using the command %to JSON. And then you want to call the command do database.% from JSON and add the value you just convert into JSON into it. And yeah, with that, you can add a new value into your database. And in MongoDB, you can use the command called insert1, and inside you just put in the data you want to add to the database, and it will do. For Cache, when you want to find a document, you can use the command %find document and then add in your condition for document you want to find. And also remember to call %to JSON to be able to read the data. In MongoDB, you have a command called find, and in that command, you can put in any condition satisfied the data you want to get. To be able to delete a document from Cache, you can use the delete document command. And inside, you put in your document ID, and then your document with the ID you specify will be deleted. While in MongoDB, you can call the command delete1 and put the condition to be deleted inside, and all the data that satisfy the condition will be deleted. Now we come to comparison with SQL. And here I compare Cache with MySQL. And as we say before, Cache is a multimodal DBMS and application server, and MySQL is a widely used open source relational DBMS. Cache have 3 primary database model: is key value store, object-oriented DBMS, relational DBMS, while MySQL only have relational DBMS. About the license, Cache is commercial and MySQL is open source. Cache have some API and other asset methods like .NET Client API, JDBC, ODBC, RESTful HTTP API, while MySQL have ADO.NET, JDBC, ODBC, and proprietary native API. Cache only support C# C++, and Java, while MySQL support a lot of programming language, including JavaScript, PHP, Python, Ruby, and so on. InterSystems Cache have some advantages over SQL. Within Cache, data can be modeled and stored as table, object, or multi-dimensional arrays. Different models can seamlessly access that data without the need for performance-killing mapping between models. That's why we call InterSystems Cache is high-performance database. InterSystems adopt SQL command and works similar to MySQL. So you can use any SQL command you use in MySQL in Cache, and it just works the same. Besides that, InterSystems SQL provide a special arrow operator as a shorthand for getting value from a related table without the complexity of specifying the explicit join. So instead of using a complicated join to join three tables to get the name of pet shop owner, city, and state, we can use implicit join. So as you can see here, there are three tables. There are pet table, pet shop table, and location table. In the pet shop table, the pet shop column refers to the ID column of pet shop table, and the location column in pet shop table refers to the ID column of location table. And with that in mind, we can use this command so much simpler to be able to achieve what we want to find. So from here, we can select pet shop, arrow owner, pet shop, arrow location, arrow city, pet shop, arrow location, arrow state from pet. So only from pet table, we can access to pet shop table as well as location table without joining three tables. And on the right-hand side is the result that we have.
Let me see. Okay. Okay, all right. So this is quick start with Cache. First of all, we will, okay, hold on. So this is quick start with Cache. To start, we're gonna go to this link. I'll click the link in a minute. We're gonna do a tutorial on this whole process, but just to preliminarily go over the steps, I'm just gonna go over a couple slides and then we'll have a full tutorial. We'll go to this link. This is the InterSystems website. They have their own web application where you can, test around with the cache system. So you'll have to create an account for their sandbox, this system I just told you about. You have to make an account for their sandbox, and you'll only have access to this account for 3 days. So, you have to, whatever assignments you're running, and because as you may know, InterSystems Cache is a commercial, so you have to have a commercial license, but they allow users to have a 3-day temporary license, guest license. So anyway, and just for reference, the password is tech. Sorry, the username is tech. The password is demo. And here's some more information here on the backend. This is what it's going to look like as far as when you open the web application. So you're familiar with SQL. You're familiar with the workbench that we use for class is very similar as far as the look of it. You have your libraries here, you have your UI over here, and then you have obviously the coding and then the terminal right here. And then, yeah, here you go. The web terminal and management portal are what we're going to use for practice. And then the management portal is here. And I'll show you guys in a second. So now we're going to watch a tutorial. I'm going to do the tutorial here. I'm just going to cut this.
Now I will introduce a way to implement SQL in InterSystems Cache. First, you have to go to the sandbox window and then click in the InterSystem, and then you want to open the management portal. With this view, you have to scroll down until you find the System Explorer and then choose SQL on this table and then hit Go. This is the thing that you see when you open SQL in Management Portal. Here we have the table column where it provides all the database table that InterSystems Cache have it as an example for us to use. In here, I will use the demo path shop, and demo address table to introduce SQL in InterSystems Cache. So in here, as you can see, when you open the demo address, you will see that it has some attribute like ID, CD, state, street, and zip. You can also click here, the catalog detail, to get more detail about the demo address. So here you can see that the class name of the demo address is demo address, and it has row ID, field name, and also have a size of 300. So in here, to get a closer look at the database of the table, you can choose from the table with SQL command like select asterisk from demo address, and then hit execute. So here is a result we have when we call select asterisk from demo address. So it will give you a table with 5 columns with 5 attributes we already know here. Next, I want you to look at the demo pet shop table. In the catalog detail, you can see that on reference rows, the location column and demo pet shop, this one right here, is referring to the demo address table. So for a closer look, you can run select asterisk from demo pet shop. So the location column will refer to the ID column of demo address. Next, we will look at the demo path table. In here, the pet shop in demo path will refer to demo pet shop. So here we can also run it to see the whole table. What does it look like? Here you can see pet shop referring to the ID in the pet shop table. So with the example we have in the tutorial, we want to query the owner, the city, and the state of the pet shop from just using only one table, demo path. We can copy this command and put it into the queue. So select pet shop owner hash shop location state demo tab. We try to run this command. And here is the result. It's really simple. In here, we just use only one table called demo path to be able to retrieve the data from hash shop table as well as the address table. So in here, to make it clear for everyone, this hash shop is an attribute of demo path, as you see before in here. Hash shop is an attribute belong to demo path. And this hash shop and the hash shop column also refer to the hash shop table as an ID. So we can retrieve the data from hash shop. In here, we can retrieve the owner by calling hash shop arrow owner. And similar to that, location is just an attribute in hash shop. And from location, we can reference the address table. So we can easily call hash shop arrow location arrow city to retrieve city data, and hash shop arrow location arrow state retrieve state data. So it's really simple. You just have to play around with it to be comfortable with using the implicit join or this arrow. It will be so much more simpler than writing a long and complicated join, just like we usually do in MySQL.
Okay, so now we're going to run through a tutorial, and this will be explained in the homework that we do for you guys. So here's the homework. We'll go to the link. This is the same link that was in this slide here, same link. So it links you to the InterSystems website. Let's go to here. And we'll have to register an account. So I'll register a new account. We'll do name, student, TCU. Okay. And then I'll do my TCU email. And, sign up, no. Okay, so there's an error. So I already have an account. I'll try my personal email, see if this gives me anything different. I'm gonna try my personal email because I already made an account. Okay, so they're gonna send you an email. So I'll open my email, and don't mind, I have a lot of emails. So they send me an email here. We copy this code that they give you and type it in, copy it in. I'll create a password and okay, so we'll log in. Now you're at the front page again, the initial link, and it should just log you in. If it doesn't, you just created your username and password or email and password, so it shouldn't be hard to log in, but it should automatically log you in when you hit it. You'll have to wait a minute for the Iris. It's called Iris, the web API application. It takes a minute to load. So I guess while we're waiting, we'll just wait for it to. So just scrolling through here for you guys. This will also give you, so we have our own sort of instructions on here, as well as the slides. Oh, wait, stop. Okay, as well as the slides. I accidentally clicked the button. So, but they also have instructions on their website as far as, so username tech, password is demo. User, instead of seeing like on VMware, you'll see, you know, it'll say root, and in this case, it's user. So see user, and you'll have to use SQL as the code to, instead of MySQL, you use SQL to get in, and then it'll say ready, set code. You'll have to wait some more, a little bit. I wish it was instant. So just wait. And if it doesn't, if it gets to this point, you might have to refresh the page. Typically, it'll redirect you. Okay, so here we are. Should have taken me. Let's try this again. Okay. Sorry about that. So if it doesn't open up automatically, there's a link right here that should take you. So here we are. Here we to the sandbox. So like I said, if it doesn't, and sometimes if I'm on Firefox, I don't know. I think it depends on what browser you're on. Sometimes it doesn't open up automatically. So you have to click this link in the case that it doesn't. So let's look at the tutorial here. And like I said, here's your command line, and then the terminal. And then from here, you're able to look at web terminal. The password or the username is tech. Password is demo. And you'll be able to sign in. And from here, you're able to, oh, just don't save it. As I said before, you'll have to do /SQL. And now you'll be in SQL. And so when you do the homework, or if you're just wanting to use the sandbox, you're able to do so. Now, that's for the web terminal. For the management portal, we'll have to go to the web management page. So I'm going to split this up here so I can read the terminal or the instructions for management. And so you guys can see it as well. So we'll click on InterSystems. We'll scroll up here. We'll click on InterSystems. Okay, InterSystems at the top. Go to management portal. It'll take us to this little management page. And obviously the username is tech, so this is just general for everyone. It should be the same. So view, it's telling us here, System Explorer, and we go to SQL, and then I think we hit go. And here's what we'll be able to make. So let's look here. So tables, it'll load. I don't know if it's my connection. It's just taking a while to load. It wasn't taking this long earlier. I'll try again. Okay, here we go. And then this one is using the pet shop. So we'll click on pet shop, and you can see a demonstration of a table here. And obviously you can create your own tables. You can do around, mess around how you would like within this management platform with the SQL. And this is sort of how you can see it in a visual sense from what you create and here. So I just went over previously in the last little thing how to get to the web terminal. And then here's the homework assignment. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just, it's similar to Dr. Way's lab, input the code and kind of be creative and make your own code. But anyway, so that's the quick tutorial on InterSystems Cache. It's pretty, I feel like it's pretty intuitive. Just if there's some sort of like loading, if it keeps loading, just refresh the page, look for some sort of link. And generally, like, you'll find something. So like here's the link if it doesn't load. And here, if it's giving you this, then, to click on web terminal, and then you'll be here, and then you'll do MySQL or SQL, sorry. And then you can do, create database and then you know how to code from there. So and there is a little bit of a different syntax as we just went over. So just keep that in mind, study it, look at it. But yeah, that's tutorial on using InterSystem Cache, and good luck on the homework, guys.